Hi everybody, my name's James. I'm the lighting designer for the UK Rock Challenge Tour, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to plot the lighting for your Rock Challenge to get a really good performance for the evening show, and also how to program it throughout the day. So firstly, we're going to talk about how the daytime works as regards plotting your lighting. So in essence, when you arrive at your Rock Challenge venue, you will come and sit with me when your school is performing, and we get 2 run-throughs to plot your performance. On the first run-through, all we're interested in is plotting your lighting. And it's quite difficult to do, but I want you to completely forget what's happening on the stage. When your first run-through is complete, I'll play back to you the cues you have created, and then in your second run-through, I will play the cues back to you how it will be obviously to the night's performance. Okay, I can give you a maximum of 15 individual lighting cues, so time is a little bit tight there, which means we get around between 8 and 10 minutes to plot your lighting design. We're after you to go for quality, not quantity, so get some really good looks in there that really complement your piece. Think about the costumes and try not to get too carried away with the amount of cues. As I say, 15 is the maximum amount. Each lighting change counts as a cue, so try and bear that in mind when you're telling me what you'd like for your performance. And just take 1 cue at a time. Just be realistic with the time we get on the day to plot it. As I say, 8 to 10 minutes, we are doing well to get 15 cues done. I'd rather you do between 6 or 8 really good looking cues than 12 or 15 not so great ones. Okay, so what to expect from the lighting rig when you arrive at your Rock Challenge event. In essence, the basics are we offer you a red, green, blue and a white wash. A wash is a blanket of light that covers the stage, and as the name suggests, it will wash the stage in the colour you choose. Okay. At most of the Rock Challenge events we use intelligent lighting. These can be LED lights such as LED park hands, or 4 moving lights that you would have seen in the morning production meetings that can move around the stage. Within these you can use different colours and gobos. If you hear me say to you on the event day a gobo is a pattern that we can use to project onto the stage that can really help enhance your performance. Okay, we also offer you strobe lighting in your Rock Challenge. This is a really powerful effect. We can give you this in a maximum of 10 seconds with the same rest period in between. That's to do with the health and safety and as regards the use of strobe lighting there. Don't go over the top with it, it can be very distracting for the audience. We also offer you a UV or ultraviolet wash. This is can be really useful in your performance, but please make sure if you want to use UV that you've used UV reactive paints or materials in your set and costumes. It doesn't work as well with just white costumes. Make sure you've used UV reactive paints and materials. Okay. We also offer you the use of smoke machines. Again, in the venue, the smoke machines are big, powerful machines. Don't put too much into your performance. I know it really does it can give a really good effect, but the whole idea is to make sure you can see the people on the stage. Okay, so just add a little bit here and there as we go along. What I don't want you to do, it's a really big mistake that people tend to make in a Rock Challenge lighting design, is overusing moving lights. They're there to help you and complement your piece. I don't want you to get too carried away with them and say to me, James, can you position this moving light on this this cast member on stage right, or this one needs to be in a star pattern on the left. You'll run out of time. Please use my preset settings in the board, and if we get time we can maybe add a few little bits of extras in, but don't get carried away with the moving lights. They're there to enhance your performance. You need to light people, make sure you can see people's faces. As you're aware, your Rock Challenge is being filmed, so make sure you include lots of white light so you can see people's faces at all times, and obviously just be aware that people will be viewing it in tonight's performance, so make sure you can actually see the people on the stage. Okay. When you come and sit with me, make sure you bring a cue sheet which is available in your teacher's handbook, and fill these in with a maximum of 15 individual cues. Okay. Before we even start programming or touching the board, by the way, don't worry, I will do all the programming for you. I'd like you to make some decisions before we start. The first one is which backdrop you would like to use. There are two options as this. You are allowed to use a black backdrop, which as the name suggests is a black curtain. This can give a much more theatrical look. If you wanted a lot more backlight, and it enhances the colour a little bit more. I'd strongly recommend using a black backdrop if you're using a UV scene. It helps to enhance how the UV reacts within your costumes and set. The second option is to use a cyc. Now a cyc is short for cyclorama. As you can see, I'll show you in a few minutes time what that is. That is the big white sheet at the back of the stage which can light in different colours. We can also project onto that with different gobos from the intelligent lighting, and that can also be very useful to enhance your performance. The second question I will ask you is whether you are using follow spots. The follow spots are the two manually operated spotlights that are often at the rear of the auditorium. These are very useful for picking out individual performers or areas of the stage, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. The third question I'm going to ask you is how your piece will start. Okay, the options are together with the soundtrack being number one. The second choice is a sound cue to start, and the third choice is a lighting cue to start. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. Please be aware, if you use a black backdrop, you will lose any of the projection and gobos and things that you would be able to use on the cyc. We can still offer you that as part of your lighting design, but the effect does decrease slightly with it being a black backdrop. For the actual performance on the night, it's down to you guys to call the cues to me. Now we do that by using the standby and a go method. Okay, if your piece starts with the soundtrack, i.e. together, the music starts and the lights come up at the same time, I will do the first cue for you. From then on, from number 2 to however many cues you have plotted, it's then down to you to call them to me and call them as we go along throughout your Rock Challenge piece. We do that by using this method of calling. You need to give me a standby and a go for each cue. For example, when you are ready for cue 2, you need to put me on standby around 3 or 5 seconds before you would like the cue to fire. You need to say, standby cue 2. I will then acknowledge you by saying I'm standing by. When you would like the cue to fire, you say cue 2, go. The second you say go, I press the button on the lighting desk and the lights change. You will do that for each individual cue right up until the very last cue, when there you will say stage to black, or I will just, if you ask me to fade it out with the music, that's absolutely fine. Within your cue sheet, be as descriptive as you can. Explain to me where each individual cue is set. For example, if it's in a forest, tell me that and I can add more colour and different gobos and patterns in as we go along. Explain to me if the cue is happy, is it sad, what the soundtrack is. I might ask you if you would like to build any chases or anything like that to a beat of a music. The whole idea behind that cue sheet is you have to interpret to me what you would like for your lighting design, so it's down to you as the lighting designer to be as descriptive as you can within that sheet. As I said earlier, bear in mind your Rock Challenge is being filmed for DVD recording. It's really important to make sure you add plenty of white light in the auditorium, so make sure you can see people's faces at all times. In some Rock Challenge venues, you'll see in front of you, near the desk, a preview monitor. This is how your piece will appear on the DVD. That is an exact copy. Keep watching that as we're going along. If you think, oh, that's a little bit dark in that piece, I can add you some more white lighting as we go along. But it's really important to make sure you can actually see people as we're going along. All the effects can look really great, but if you can't see the people on the stage, that's not so great. So please be aware, keep it nice and bright as we go along. Please be aware that blackouts are counted as a cue number because it has to be plotted into the board. Okay, so bear that in mind when you're thinking about your cue allocation. Okay, after your first run through, if time allows, I will play back to you the cues you have created. It's really important to make sure your notes and numbers match mine, as you will call the show to me for tonight's performance, or the performance on the evening, by a number. I'll play you back to one cue at a time. Make sure you make notes of what they are. For example, cue 1 might start with a white wash, and then cue 2 we add green. It's down to you to make sure you know what number cues are which. Another area where people get confused when plotting the lighting, and it's really good to let your team and obviously staff members as well know, is when we're plotting the lighting, I won't be keeping up with you on the first rehearsal, so don't be worried if the lights you see on stage doesn't quite match what's happening on the first run through. If you could make sure all your team members are aware of this so they don't come and distract you and put you off when you're using your really precious programming time, that would be great. On the second run through, all being well, we'll piece it all back together and it will look exactly how it will look in your second run through as it will on tonight's show. Also, when you come and sit with me, I'll ask you to wear a headset. Make sure you speak nice and clearly to me, and it's probably not me being rude to just saying I can't hear you. Just speak up a little bit, make sure the microphone is right in front of your head. The Rock Challenge day, as I'm sure you're aware, is very noisy. The sound levels get very loud, so just make sure we can clearly communicate to each other, and as we go along, speak nice and clearly and make notes as you go. When you come and sit with me on a Rock Challenge day, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. I do all the board operations, pressing the buttons and things like that. You don't have anything to do with that. You just talk to me and communicate with me what cues you would like, and obviously the different lighting states within that. There's absolutely nothing to worry about at all, so just relax, bring all the paperwork you need with you, make sure you've filled in your cue sheets, and come and sit with me, get your headset on, and we'll get you your lighting plotted straight away.